Captain Elias Kane adjusted the straps of his worn backpack as he stepped off the small shuttle onto the dusty landing platform of the human colony. The air smelled faintly metallic, mixed with the aroma of recycled water and fresh nutrient foods. Around him, people moved quickly through the colony streets, some pausing to glance at him and his daughter. Elias could feel the eyes on him, a mixture of curiosity, judgment, and perhaps a little pity. He had been away for many years, a soldier of the stars returning from missions no one now remembered clearly. Lyra, his daughter, was at his side, clutching a small bag that held her few belongings. She was only 12, but her bright eyes and endless curiosity made her seem older. She peered at the colony, noticing details her father did not. The buildings were simple but sturdy, domed for protection against the planet's harsh sun and occasional storms. The streets had patches of green, small gardens where families grew fresh vegetables. But what captured Lyra's attention most were the people themselves. "Father," she said softly, tugging at his sleeve, "why are they looking at us like that?" Elias sighed. He had expected this. After all, he was no longer the hero he once was in the eyes of the colony. "They do not understand our story yet," he said quietly. "Many here think I failed. They think I brought nothing but trouble from my missions." Lyra frowned. "But you fought for humans across the stars. How can that be trouble?" Elias shook his head. "People sometimes forget what is important. They remember only the failures, not the effort or the risks. The base I once commanded, they call it forgotten. Some say it never mattered. That is the truth of being human. We are remembered only in pieces and sometimes not at all." Lyra's eyes sparkled. "Then maybe we can remind them. Maybe we can show them that that it is important." Elias smiled faintly. Her optimism always lifted his spirit. He took her hand and guided her through the crowded streets. People whispered as they passed. Some children stared openly, pointing at Lyra and whispering to each other. Adults exchanged subtle looks, shaking their heads or muttering under their breath. "Do not worry about them," Elias said. "Their words are small. You and I, we have a bigger path." Lyra nodded, though she could feel the sting of the judgment. She wanted to prove her father was a hero and perhaps prove herself along the way. They reached their temporary home, a small, two-story dwelling at the edge of the colony. It was humble but safe. Elias set down his bag and looked around the small space, taking in the simplicity. He remembered the days of his missions when he had vast quarters aboard massive starships. This was nothing like that, but perhaps it would serve its purpose. "Father," Lyra said, peering out the small window at the distant hills, "do you think we can find the base again?" Elias hesitated. He had thought about this for years. The space base he once commanded had been abandoned long ago, its records lost or destroyed. Many believed it was gone forever, a relic of a human era no longer remembered. But a small spark inside him still held hope. "I do not know, Lyra," he said carefully. "The base was forgotten for a reason, but if anyone could find it, it would be us." Lyra's eyes lit up. "Then we will. We will find it, Father. And they will see. They will know that it was important." Elias could not help but smile. Her determination reminded him of himself at her age, unafraid, bold, and full of dreams. That evening they shared a simple meal. The colony's food was nourishing, though far from the delicacies Elias had once known. He told Lyra stories of his travels, the strange stars he had visited, the distant planets with glowing forests, the storms that raged across gas giants, and the small acts of bravery he had witnessed in his fellow humans. Lyra listened, wide-eyed, absorbing every detail. After the meal, Lyra asked if she could explore a little outside the dwelling. Elias hesitated. The colony's outskirts were mostly safe, but they were not patrolled heavily, and some areas had been abandoned long ago. "Be careful," he warned. "Stay near the walls, watch the paths, and do not wander into old ruins. You never know what dangers may lie there." "I will be careful," Lyra promised. She slipped out into the fading light of the setting sun, her curiosity guiding her steps. She moved quietly through the narrow paths and small gardens, her eyes scanning the walls for old signs, plaques, or remnants of history. Her exploration led her to a small abandoned library at the edge of the colony. Its doors were heavy and worn, but still functional. Inside, rows of dusty shelves held books, star charts, and records of human exploration. Lyra ran her fingers across the spines, noticing some titles that mentioned distant missions and forgotten colonies. She found a map with scattered dots representing locations humans had once explored. One entry caught her eye, a small base marked as classified, restricted access. Lyra's heart raced. Could this be the base her father had commanded? She opened the dusty logbook next to the map and found strange symbols and coordinates. Though she could not fully decode it, the markings hinted at a location somewhere in the nearby star system. Excited, she took notes in her own handwriting, hiding the papers carefully in her bag. When she returned home, Elias was waiting, his face a mix of concern and curiosity. "What did you find?" he asked gently. Lyra's hands trembled with excitement as she showed him the notes. Elias leaned closer, examining the scribbles and symbols. His eyes widened slightly. This could be it," he said, voice low. "The base. It might still exist." Lyra beamed. "Then we can go, Father. We can find it." Elias shook his head slowly, torn between hope and caution. "It is dangerous, Lyra. The base has been lost for a reason. Many tried to reach it and never returned. But—" He paused, studying her determined face. "If we do this together, we may succeed where others failed." That night, as Lyra slept, Elias sat by the window staring at the stars. He remembered the day he had left this sector, filled with confidence and purpose, only to return years later to whispers and scorn. Now, with his daughter by his side, he felt a new sense of determination. He would no longer be defined by failure. Together, they could rewrite their story. The next morning, Elias began making plans. He visited the local engineers and shipwrights, inspecting small spacecraft that could carry them to the distant system. Most of the colonists scoffed at his questions. "Why bother?" they said. "The base is gone, nothing there now." But Elias ignored them. He focused on what mattered: his daughter's spirit, the hope of discovery, and the chance to restore the legacy of humanity's courage and knowledge. Over the next few weeks, father and daughter worked tirelessly. Elias taught Lyra the basics of navigation, star charts, and the operation of spacecraft. She proved to be quick and clever, learning systems and instruments faster than he expected. Her excitement was contagious, and slowly, Elias began to see the colony less as a place of judgment and more as a starting point for their journey. Lyra, for her part, explored every scrap of old records she could find, piecing together clues about the forgotten base. She discovered references to experiments in sustainable energy, advanced robotics, and even early interstellar communications. Technologies that, if recovered, could help humanity thrive in ways the colony had never imagined. One evening, while examining an old datapad, Lyra found a fragment of a map showing the outer asteroid belt near the planet. A faint signal pattern indicated that something was still broadcasting there, perhaps a remnant of the base's systems. She ran to Elias, waving the datapad. "Father, look at this! I think the base is trying to be found." Elias examined the pad carefully. His eyes narrowed. "It is possible," he said. "We must be cautious. The belt is dangerous, full of debris and hidden threats. But you may be right. Perhaps it is calling for us." Lyra's eyes sparkled with anticipation. "Then we have to go. We have to see it for ourselves." Elias nodded slowly. "Yes, Lyra. Together, we will go, but we must prepare. We cannot rush into the unknown unready." As the sun set that evening, casting long shadows across the colony, father and daughter stood at the edge of the landing platform, looking at the stars. The journey ahead would be difficult and dangerous. They would face judgment, scorn, and the unknown perils of space. But together, they carried something stronger than fear: hope, courage, and the unbreakable bond of family. For the first time in many years, Elias Kane felt the thrill of possibility. The forgotten base might hold answers, technology, and history long lost to humanity, and with Lyra at his side, he knew they had a chance to bring it back to life, to reclaim humanity's lost achievements and prove that even in the vastness of space, human courage and determination could shine brighter than any star. And so, as the colony slept under the alien sky, father and daughter began the quiet work of planning their journey, a journey that would take them to the edges of known space, into forgotten star systems, and perhaps into the very heart of humanity's lost legacy. The whispers of scorn that had followed them seemed to fade under the light of the stars. For Elias and Lyra, the adventure had only just begun. The morning sun rose over the colony, spilling golden light across the domed buildings and narrow streets. Captain Elias Kane stood in the small workshop at the edge of the settlement, inspecting a modest starship that had been neglected for years. Its hull bore scratches and dents from countless flights, and some of its systems were outdated, but Elias saw potential. With careful repairs, this small vessel could take him and Lyra to the distant star system where the forgotten base might be waiting. Lyra sat on a nearby crate, her eyes bright with excitement. She traced the edges of the console with her fingers and imagined the stars stretching before them. "Father," she said, "do you think the base is really still there, after all this time?" Elias looked up from the hull. He had spent years in space, witnessing wonders and dangers beyond imagination. He knew that time could hide many things, but it could not erase the truth. "I do not know for certain, Lyra," he replied. "But if the records and signals you found are correct, there is a very good chance it still exists, and if it does, it could hold knowledge that humanity has forgotten." Lyra's excitement grew. She bounced off the crate and began checking the small compartments of the ship. "Then we have to go. We have to find it." Elias smiled at her determination. It reminded him of himself as a boy, full of energy and unafraid of the unknown. He knew this journey would be dangerous. Asteroid belts, old navigation systems, and perhaps even unpredictable cosmic storms awaited them. But with Lyra by his side, he felt ready. Together, they could face anything. The first step was preparing the ship. Elias and Lyra worked tirelessly, cleaning the hull, checking the engines, and repairing navigation systems. Many parts were worn, so they had to improvise. Lyra surprised her father by solving a problem with the guidance computer using logic and patterns she had noticed in old star maps. "You are learning fast," Elias said, impressed. "You may even surpass me one day." Lyra beamed. "I want to. I want to help humans reach the stars just like you did." As the ship's systems slowly came online, the colony's reaction was mixed. Some people whispered, shaking their heads. "They'll never make it," said one man. "The base is lost. Why waste time?" Others simply ignored them, returning to their daily routines. Elias paid little attention. He had learned long ago that most people feared the unknown. They preferred comfort and certainty to courage and adventure. But he also knew that humanity's greatest achievements came from those willing to take risks. Finally, after weeks of preparation, the ship was ready. Its engines hummed quietly, systems blinking in steady rhythm. Father and daughter stood on the landing platform, staring at the open sky. Beyond the thin atmosphere, stars awaited, each one a beacon of possibility. "Are you ready?" Elias asked. Lyra nodded firmly. "I am ready, Father. Let's go find the base." The ship lifted smoothly from the platform, gliding past the domed buildings of the colony. People stopped to watch as it disappeared into the sky. Some still whispered, but the Kane family did not care. They were heading into the unknown, driven by hope, curiosity, and the desire to restore what had been forgotten. The first leg of their journey took them to the outer edge of the colony's star system. Elias guided the ship carefully, navigating past small asteroids and debris left from long-abandoned satellites. Lyra monitored the instruments, learning quickly how to read the signals and understand the ship's systems. "It's amazing, Father," she said. "The stars feel so close here." "They are close only if you are brave enough to reach for them," Elias replied. "And even then, they will challenge you." Challenges came sooner than expected. As they approached a dense asteroid field, sensors detected fast-moving objects ahead. Elias adjusted the ship's trajectory, weaving between the rocks. Some were small, harmless, but others were large enough to damage the hull severely. Lyra's heart raced. "What do we do?" she asked. "Trust me," Elias said. "Follow my lead and stay calm." With careful maneuvers, the ship slipped through the asteroid belt. Lyra watched in awe as her father guided them with skill and precision. When they emerged on the other side, she realized how dangerous space could be, and how exciting. The journey continued, each day bringing new discoveries. Strange cosmic phenomena appeared on their sensors, glowing clouds of gas that shifted colors in the starlight, small comets with icy tails, and even distant signals that seemed to mimic familiar star patterns. Lyra logged everything meticulously, hoping these clues might guide them closer to the base. During the quiet moments, Elias shared stories of his missions. He told her about planets with forests that glowed under two suns, storms that lasted for days, and creatures that moved faster than the eye could see. Lyra listened, imagining herself walking through these strange worlds, dreaming of the adventures she might one day have. Despite the excitement, there were moments of tension. The ship's engines sometimes sputtered, and old navigation systems produced errors. Once, a minor malfunction caused the ship to drift dangerously close to a small asteroid. Lyra's quick thinking and calm actions helped Elias correct the course just in time. "You are becoming an excellent navigator," Elias said with pride. "You saved us back there. That was impressive." Lyra smiled, proud of herself. "I want to be as good as you, Father. One day, I want to fly ships across the stars on my own." Elias nodded. "And you will, Lyra. You will." Days turned into weeks. They passed small, uninhabited planets and moons, each one holding mysteries and secrets of its own. At night, Lyra often stared out the observation window, tracing constellations she had learned about from her father. Then, one morning, the sensors picked up a faint signal. It was weak but steady, coming from a distant point in space. Elias leaned over the console, scanning the readings. This could be it," he said, a mixture of excitement and caution in his voice. Lyra's heart raced. "The base?" Elias nodded. "It matches the coordinates we found in the old logbooks. It is close to the asteroid belt we read about. But we must be careful. That region is unstable, full of debris and hazards." Lyra's hands trembled with anticipation. "We can do it, Father. We can reach it." Elias smiled. Her courage and determination reminded him why he had chosen to bring her on this journey. "Yes, Lyra. Together we can do it." As they approached the asteroid belt, the ship's sensors detected more obstacles. Large rocks floated through space, some moving in unpredictable patterns. Elias adjusted the engines and shields, guiding the vessel with precision. Lyra monitored the instruments, calculating angles and speeds, helping her father avoid collisions. The ship's hull groaned under the stress, and small sparks flew from the outer panels as they brushed against tiny debris. But they pressed on, determined to reach their destination. Hours passed, and finally, a massive structure appeared in the distance, a shadow among the asteroids. The forgotten space base, partially damaged but still intact, loomed before them. Its lights flickered faintly, as if welcoming the explorers who had come after so many years. Lyra gasped. "It's real. It's really real." Elias felt a mixture of awe and relief. After all these years, after the scorn and whispers, they had found what many believed was lost forever. The base held secrets, knowledge, and technology that could change humanity's future. "Prepare to dock," Elias said, his voice steady. "We must be careful. The base may be unstable, but this is what we came for. This is our chance to uncover the truth." Lyra nodded, her hands steady on the controls. Together, they guided the ship closer, weaving between asteroids and avoiding the hazards that surrounded the base. Every moment was tense, every move critical. But their teamwork, trust, and courage carried them forward. As they finally approached the docking bay, the base's systems seemed to recognize their presence. Lights flickered on along the walls, and the airlock doors began to open slowly. It was as if the base had been waiting for someone to arrive, someone capable of understanding its purpose. Elias and Lyra exchanged a glance, a silent agreement passing between them. They had come so far, faced so many dangers, and now they stood at the threshold of discovery. What they would find inside could change everything. For them, for the colony, and for humanity. Taking a deep breath, Elias guided the ship into the docking bay. The engines hummed steadily as the vessel connected to the base. The doors sealed behind them with a soft hiss. The silence inside was profound, broken only by the faint hum of the base's systems coming back to life. Lyra's eyes sparkled with excitement. "We made it, Father. We really made it." Elias smiled, pride and relief filling him. "Yes, Lyra. And now, we explore. Together." With that, they stepped out of the ship, their boots echoing in the empty corridors of the forgotten space base. The walls were cold, metallic, and scarred by time, but there was also a sense of potential, of knowledge, waiting to be uncovered. As they ventured deeper into the base, both father and daughter knew this was only the beginning. There were mysteries to solve, technologies to understand, and perhaps even messages from the humans who had built this place long ago. The journey had been dangerous, and the path ahead promised even greater challenges. But Elias and Lyra were ready. Together, they would uncover the secrets of the forgotten space base, and in doing so, prove that human courage, determination, and hope could never truly be forgotten. The adventure had only just begun. The docking bay was silent, except for the soft hum of the forgotten base's old systems. Captain Elias Kane and his daughter, Lyra, stepped carefully onto the metallic floor, their boots echoing through the corridors. Dust had settled over decades of neglect, but the structure still stood strong, a silent guardian of human knowledge. The faint glow of emergency lights revealed hallways lined with panels, screens, and doors that had not opened in years. "This place, it's bigger than I imagined," Lyra whispered, her voice filled with awe. She ran her fingers along the walls, feeling the cold metal and the faint vibration of machinery hidden beneath the surface. "I can't believe it's real." Elias nodded. "It's real, Lyra, and it's waiting for us." For decades, people have forgotten this base, thinking it was lost. But it has been here, holding secrets that could help humans in ways we cannot yet imagine. They moved deeper into the base, their lights cutting through the shadows. Some doors opened easily, others were sealed shut, rusted and immovable. The corridors seemed endless, twisting and turning like the inner workings of a massive machine. Lyra's excitement grew with every step. She wanted to explore every room, every panel, every archive. "Father," she said, "look at this." She pointed to a room marked as Research Lab 7. The door was ajar, and inside, rows of instruments and devices gleamed faintly. Papers and data pads lay scattered across tables, their screens flickering to life as they powered up. Elias stepped inside cautiously. "This lab was for experiments in sustainable energy," he said, reading a faded label. "Long ago, humans wanted to create unlimited energy sources for colonies. If these devices still work, this could change everything for the settlements out there." Lyra's eyes widened. She picked up a datapad and tapped on its screen. It flickered, revealing charts, diagrams, and logs from decades ago. "Father, this is amazing. People thought we could only survive on basic technology, but this is advanced. Why did humans leave it behind?" Elias shook his head. "Politics, fear, and miscommunication. Humans are capable of great things, but sometimes they abandon knowledge because they do not understand it. This base was powerful. Too powerful for some leaders, so they left it thinking it safer to forget." Lyra studied the diagrams carefully. "We could bring this back, help our colony, maybe even the whole human network." Elias smiled, proud of her determination. "Yes, Lyra, but we must be careful. Some systems may still be dangerous. We do not know what protective measures remain active." Their exploration continued through the corridors, revealing rooms of incredible technology. They found robotics workshops, holographic projectors, and communication arrays that had not been touched in decades. Every discovery filled them with awe and renewed purpose. Then they entered the central hall, the largest room they had seen. Its ceiling arched high above them, lined with long panels of lights that flickered to life as they passed. At the center of the hall was a massive console, surrounded by strange devices and tubes of glowing energy. "This must be the heart of the base," Elias whispered. "Everything we have seen so far? It all leads here." Lyra ran her fingers over the console's surface. Symbols glowed faintly under her touch, responding to her presence. "It's alive," she said softly, "like it knows we're here." Elias studied the panels. "Perhaps it does." Many bases had artificial intelligence systems to manage operations. This could be one of them. "Let's be careful, Lyra. If it reacts, we do not know how it will react." Suddenly, a soft voice echoed through the hall. "Authorized personnel recognized. Welcome back, explorers." Lyra jumped in surprise. "Father, did you hear that?" Elias nodded. "Yes, it's the AI. It recognizes us as authorized users. That is remarkable. Most systems deactivate after decades without maintenance. This is something else entirely," the AI continued. "You may access the central archives and operational chambers. Proceed with caution. Knowledge contained within may alter the course of human colonies. Use wisely." Lyra's excitement surged. "Father, this is incredible. We can learn everything here. Imagine what we can bring back to our colony." Elias nodded. "Yes, but we must stay focused. There is much to understand, and some systems may still be dangerous. Let's explore methodically." They entered the archives, a room filled with holographic displays and datapads. As Elias activated the panels, holograms of planets, star systems, and human colonies appeared. Lyra's eyes widened. "Look, Father, these are all the colonies humans tried to build." Elias nodded. "Yes, many attempts were forgotten or abandoned, but this base recorded everything: maps, experiments, communications, all preserved. We could learn so much from this place." Lyra explored further, finding records of early humans who had colonized distant planets. Their names, achievements, and missions were all preserved. "They wanted to reach the stars, just like we do," she whispered, "and they succeeded in ways we didn't know." As they studied, they discovered warnings. Some areas of the base were sealed due to dangerous experiments and energy containment failures. Elias examined the warnings carefully. "We must be cautious. There may be systems that are unstable. We cannot rush. One wrong move could be catastrophic." Lyra nodded, though her curiosity burned brightly. She wanted to see everything, understand everything. Together, they continued through the base, carefully following the AI's guidance. In one chamber, they found a room dedicated to robotics. Machines of all sizes, some humanoid, some resembling animals, powered up at their approach. The robots moved smoothly, cleaning the room and performing maintenance tasks. Lyra's eyes sparkled. "They still work. They remember how to serve humans." Elias smiled. "Yes, Lyra. This base was built to last, to serve humanity even if people forgot it. That is the brilliance of human design. The thought that knowledge and tools should endure beyond generations." Next, they entered a laboratory filled with energy crystals and glowing conduits. The walls displayed diagrams of sustainable energy systems designed to power entire planets. Lyra's excitement grew. "Father, if we can bring this back, we could help colonies survive in ways we never imagined. Clean energy, unlimited power, humans could thrive." Elias nodded. "That is why this base matters. Humans gave up on it once, but now, we have a chance to use it responsibly. Not for greed, but for survival and growth." As they explored deeper, the AI guided them toward a hidden chamber. "Central core detected. High-level access required. Proceed?" it asked. Elias exchanged a glance with Lyra. "Yes, we must see what is inside. This could be the key to everything." They entered the hidden chamber. It was a vast room filled with complex machinery, glowing with energy. At the center, a massive crystal pulsed rhythmically, as if alive. Holographic images projected around it, showing distant planets, star systems, and advanced human technology. Lyra gasped. This is amazing. It's like the heart of the universe is here. Elias stepped closer, examining the crystal and the surrounding devices. This is a power source unlike anything we've ever seen. It could provide energy for centuries, or perhaps even accelerate travel between stars. Humans left it behind because they feared its potential. But now, we can use it wisely. The AI spoke again. Central archives unlocked. Knowledge and technology preserved. Humans authorized for rediscovery. Elias Kane and Lyra Kane. Proceed responsibly. Lyra's eyes shone. Father, this is it. We found something incredible. Humans thought it was lost, but we found it. Elias nodded, pride and awe filling him. Yes, Lyra. This is more than a discovery. It is a responsibility. We must bring this knowledge back carefully, teach others, and ensure it is used for the good of humanity. For hours, they explored the hidden chamber, learning about advanced propulsion systems, energy storage, robotics, and even medical technologies. Every discovery was a reminder of human ingenuity, creativity, and the desire to explore and improve. As they prepared to leave the chamber, the AI spoke one last time. Warning: some systems may require continuous maintenance. Knowledge is powerful, but mismanagement can lead to disaster. Humans must act wisely. Elias placed a reassuring hand on Lyra's shoulder. We understand. We will be careful. We will use this knowledge to help humans, not harm them. Lyra smiled. Father, I can't wait to show the colony what we've found. They'll understand now. They'll see why the base was important. Elias nodded. Yes, Lyra. And perhaps they will learn something more important. That human courage, curiosity, and determination are stronger than doubt, fear, or scorn. We will remind them of what it means to be human. As they prepared to return to their ship, Elias and Lyra took one last look around the base. Dust and age had not diminished its brilliance. The forgotten space base, once abandoned and ignored, now stood as a symbol of human achievement, waiting for the right people to rediscover it. With their hearts full of hope and determination, they stepped back into their ship. The journey to return home would be long, and challenges awaited them. But they carried something far more valuable than speed or strength. They carried the knowledge, courage, and hope of humanity itself. And as the engines roared to life, carrying them away from the forgotten base, both father and daughter knew one thing for certain. This was only the beginning. The secrets of the base would change their colony, inspire generations, and remind humanity that even when history forgets, the courage and determination of humans could shine brighter than any star. The small starship hummed steadily as it left the forgotten base behind. Captain Elias Kane and his daughter Lyra gazed out of the observation windows, watching the asteroid field shrink into the distance. The base, once abandoned and scorned, now represented hope, knowledge, and the strength of human ingenuity. Lyra leaned against the console, still amazed. Father, it's real. We really found it. And all of this, the energy systems, the robots, the records, it's incredible. Elias nodded, his hand resting on hers. Yes, Lyra. But the hard work isn't over. The next challenge is bringing this knowledge back safely and sharing it with the colony. People may not understand at first, but they must see the truth. Lyra's eyes sparkled with determination. They'll see. They'll understand. And maybe they'll be proud of us. Elias smiled faintly. Perhaps, or they may still doubt. But that is human nature. Our job is to show them what is possible, not to argue over their doubts. The journey back to the colony was long and careful. Elias navigated the ship through minor asteroid fields and past small planets, while Lyra monitored sensors, recalibrating systems and logging every discovery from the base. Each day, their bond grew stronger. She learned not only about navigation and technology, but also about patience, strategy, and problem-solving under pressure. One afternoon, the ship passed a small moon with a cratered surface. Lyra noticed a faint signal on the sensors, a weak echo from the forgotten base's energy systems. "Father, it's still sending a signal," she said, "even after all this time." Elias studied the readings. "Yes, it's like it is alive, guiding us. That is the beauty of what humans created. Knowledge preserved carefully can last centuries, and now we are the keepers of that knowledge." As they drew closer to the colony, the familiar domed buildings came into view. The settlement was calm, its people busy with daily routines. But as the starship descended, whispers began to spread. Crowds gathered near the landing platform, curious about the vessel and the travelers it carried. Many recognized Elias, some still skeptical, others curious. "Look, it's Kane," someone shouted. Elias guided the ship to a smooth landing. The engines powered down with a soft hum, and the airlock opened. Father and daughter stepped out, holding data pads and small devices salvaged from the base. The crowd watched in silence, waiting for explanation. Lyra stepped forward, her voice clear and confident. "People of the colony, we have returned from the forgotten space base. The base many said was lost forever, and we bring proof, advanced technology, knowledge, and records that can help our colony thrive." The murmurs grew louder. Skeptics frowned, some shaking their heads. "Lost forever? You couldn't possibly find it," one man shouted. Elias raised his hand for calm. "I understand your doubts. Many thought it impossible. But we have seen it. We have explored it. We have the records, the energy systems and the robotics that were preserved there. This base was not destroyed. It was forgotten. But now, we can use it responsibly to improve life for all humans." Lyra held up a small holographic projector. The crowd gasped as an image appeared above it. The base, glowing softly in the asteroid field, with diagrams of the advanced systems inside. Lights danced across the faces of the colony, and whispers turned into gasps of amazement. One elder stepped forward, eyes wide. "Is this true?" he asked. "All of it? The base, the technology, the records?" Elias nodded. "Yes, we found it. And it is real. Every record, every device, every system, preserved. We must be careful with it, but it is ours to learn from and use." Lyra added, "We can bring clean energy to our colony, improve farming with advanced systems, repair old robotics, and even explore new planets with technology that humans created long ago. This is a gift from the past to guide us into the future." The crowd fell silent for a moment, absorbing her words. Then, slowly, applause began. Some people wiped tears from their eyes, overcome with wonder. Others shook their heads in disbelief, but curiosity shone in their eyes. The Canis had proven that hope, courage, and determination could overcome doubt and scorn. In the following days, the colony worked alongside Elias and Lyra to study the recovered technology. Scientists and engineers pored over the data pads, exploring the advanced energy systems, robotics, and archives. Farmers experimented with improved hydroponic systems. Children learned from the holographic displays, imagining the stars and planets humans had once explored. Elias watched with pride as his daughter shared knowledge with everyone. Her enthusiasm and bravery inspired people of all ages. Lyra, once the quiet girl at the edge of the colony, had become a symbol of curiosity, courage, and hope. One afternoon, as the sun set over the domes, Elias and Lyra sat on the edge of the landing platform, watching the stars appear one by one. "Father," Lyra said softly, "we really did it. We found the base. We brought back the knowledge. And people, they believe us now." Elias smiled, looking at her with pride. "Yes, Lyra. We did it together. And this is just the beginning. The discoveries we made will shape the future of humans for generations. But remember, it is not just the technology that matters. It is courage, determination, and the willingness to explore the unknown. That is what makes humans truly great." Lyra nodded, feeling a deep sense of pride. "I understand, Father. And I want to keep exploring. There are still so many stars out there, waiting for humans to discover them." Elias chuckled softly. Yes, Lyra. The universe is vast, full of mysteries and challenges. But with courage, knowledge, and the bonds we share, humans can achieve anything. News of their discovery spread quickly to nearby colonies. Messages arrived from leaders, scientists, and explorers, all eager to learn more about the forgotten base and the technology it contained. The Canis became symbols of hope, proof that even when history seems lost, humans can reclaim their past and use it to build a brighter future. As the colony worked to integrate the technology into daily life, Elias and Lyra continued to explore the base's archives. Each day revealed new insights, improved communication systems, medical advancements, and even detailed star maps showing planets humans had once colonized. The potential for progress seemed limitless. Lyra often spent hours in the archives, learning from the holographic records. She discovered stories of courage, sacrifice, and exploration from humans long ago. These stories inspired her, reinforcing the lessons her father had taught her about determination and hope. Elias, meanwhile, worked to ensure that the technology was used responsibly. He trained engineers and technicians to maintain the systems, warned about potential dangers, and emphasized the importance of ethical use. His experience as a soldier and explorer gave him insight into the responsibility that came with great power. One evening, as they sat in the observation room, looking at the stars, Lyra spoke again. "Father, do you think humans will ever forget the base again?" Elias shook his head. "No, Lyra. This time we have preserved it not just as a building but as knowledge. Humans will remember what it represents: courage, determination, and hope. And that is more important than any machine or system." Lyra smiled. "Then we've really changed history, haven't we?" "Yes," Elias said softly. "We have, and it is just the beginning. Humans will explore farther, learn more, and achieve what we can only imagine today. And it all started with belief, courage, and a refusal to give up." The colony, once skeptical and scornful, now celebrated their achievements. Festivals were held to honor discovery and exploration. Children dressed as explorers, engineers demonstrated new devices, and the community shared stories of courage and determination. The forgotten base had transformed not only technology, but the spirit of the people. Lyra often thought about the first day they had arrived, the whispers and judgment that had followed them. She realized that scorn and doubt were part of every journey, but they could be overcome. What mattered was courage, effort, and the willingness to explore beyond fear. Elias stood beside her one night, looking at the twinkling stars. "Lyra," he said, "remember this. Humanity will always face challenges, doubts, and obstacles. But with courage, knowledge, and the bonds we share, humans can shine brighter than any star." Lyra nodded, feeling the truth in his words. "I will remember, Father, and I will keep exploring. There are still so many mysteries out there, waiting for humans to find them." Elias smiled, placing a hand on her shoulder. "And you will, Lyra. You will." The Canis had not only rediscovered a forgotten space base, but had rekindled the spirit of humanity. The knowledge they brought back would shape the future, inspiring generations to come. And as the stars stretched endlessly above the colony, father and daughter knew that this was only the beginning. That human courage, curiosity, and determination would continue to light the way through the vastness of space. The once scorned soldier and his brave daughter had proven that even when history seems lost, humans could reclaim it. They had discovered the forgotten past and, in doing so, had opened a door to a brighter, limitless future. And in the quiet glow of the colony's domes, under the endless sky of stars, humanity's journey continued, stronger, wiser, and braver than ever before.